Yup, that's me, messing up a bass solo on stage. You might be wondering how I got here. Well, allow me to explain. It all started June last year when I watched this cute little anime called Bocchi The Rock. And the first thing that stood out to me was just how relatable Bocchi is. I too turn into a 3D animation render when I get nervous, right? So she's just like me for real. But the second thing that stood out to me was just how fun it is to be in a band. So I went ahead and tried to sell this band thing to my friend, and at the time we were missing a bassist. So I thought, okay, if I can be in a band with people, then I don't really mind playing the bass. So I ordered a cheap bass, went on vacation, and then started practicing seriously around September last year. And to be honest, I have a lot more fun than I expected. I only pick it up on a whim, but I think over the past few months, I've become more and more in love with the bass. Like, I spend 2 hours or so each day to practice. However, something was missing. You see, my friends, they weren't as keen on the band idea as I were. And apart from my friends, it's really quite hard to find people to jam with because most of the jam, like jazz jams and so on, they are usually held at bars with an audience. So there's sort of an expectation that you need to know what you're doing, right? So my dream of playing with other people felt so far away. And for the first 3 months, I just play all by myself. But that changed when I come across this one music improvisation class that welcomes players of all levels from beginner to advanced. So I signed up right away and started playing with other people around January this year. And that finally brings us to the present. You see, a couple of weeks ago, the teacher invited us to join this concert that the center is organizing. And as you can see from the start, it didn't go exactly as planned for me. So I'll hand it over to my past self to take you through the journey of how I failed my first ever concert performance. Today is the day that I will embarrass myself on stage. Whoa. Okay, so actually I'm a little late. So I'm just gonna show you real quick what I'm bringing today, and then I'm just gonna head out, okay? Yeah. Alright, so the first thing is my bass. Obviously can't go on stage without that, so that's the first thing. Next up is my cables. They do have cables there as well, but I always bring my cables sort of just in case. I also have this headphone amp which sort of helped me tune my bass and also like practice if there's any extra time. I also recently bought this bass maintenance kit, bass/guitar maintenance kit, just in case, again, like if something goes wrong, I can change the string or whatever. And of course, because I'm using an active bass, I always have a spare battery with me. Oh yeah, and spare string, of course. Yeah, and that's it. I think it's time to head out. Like I said, I am late, so I'm gonna make this quick.
Everybody's really here. That's probably good. I think that's it.
They're involved in another band. They are involved in another band.
Yeah, when I walk in, I was like, oh, that's my name. Very official.
It is. Yeah. I had to.
So it's
this your first time? Is it your first time in an official concert with your...
Yeah. Big day, big day. Historical.
Yeah, in hindsight, I think I should have taken you with me and then put you on the music stand so that you can see what I'm doing instead of putting you in a bag. So sorry about that. But anyway, we practiced for around an hour or so and then we headed out for lunch. We discussed some ideas over lunch and then we head back for the concert. We were like the last group that performed that day. So we just, for the first part of the concert, we just sat around and watched the other people perform. Well, needless to say, the other performances were amazing. So amazing, in fact, that I think my nerves started to build up a little bit. And I remember at some point, vocalist A turned to me and said, dude, I think we should have gone first, because like these people are all so good. And I agree, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, I just got more and more nervous over time. But regardless of that, the final performance before us finally wrapped up. And it's finally time for us to go on stage. Now let me give you some context so you know what's going on. We were doing just the two of us and our rendition have part A and part B. And after part B, we have like a part where people can do improvised solo if they want to. And I was a little hesitant to do the solo, right? But in the rehearsal, everybody hyped me up so much. They were like, slap bass, let's go, bass solo, let's go. So I eventually fold and I was like, hey, I'll try. And then as you can see, that led me to be the person responsible for the worst, the most catastrophic solo that day, like period. The worst one. Also, after just the two of us, we have an improv piece that involved the audience. So instead of doing our performance on stage like the other groups, we did our performance like down here so that we are closer to the audience. And here's where the problem started to show themselves, right? You see, I sat here during the other performance and I was dumb enough to leave my bass in the other side of the hall, inside the bag. I repeat, inside the bag. So when we were heading on stage, I have to go from here to grab my bass, go back here, put the bass down, go on stage, grab a music stand from the other group, go down here, adjust the music stand, take out my bass, plug it into, I don't know what I'm doing anymore, plug it into the amp, put the strap on, put the bass on me, And then I'm finally ready. And after all of that, I think it was like 2 minutes has passed already. And everybody was looking at me, right? So at this point, obviously, I was getting more and more nervous. And I didn't have time to take out my phone and put it on the music stand anymore because like everybody was just waiting for me. But fortunately, one of the acquaintance of one of our band member, they filmed the whole thing, so I still have something to show you guys. But anyway, after fumbling around for a couple of minutes, I finally turned to the band leader, give a nod to show that I'm ready, and then off we go.
Three, four.
I see the crystals, rainbows fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining.
The performance went quite smoothly at first. I think despite being really nervous, I was able to sort of focus myself on the music and play on time for the most part. I started to feel even a bit better about myself until it's time for the solo. So the order for the solo was as follows. At first we have guitar A, and then we have the bass. After that we have the aerophone, guitar B, and then we finally loop back to the chorus to do one final run and then just wrap the whole thing up. Guitar A, he freaking killed it, dude. Like, he was amazing. But then he passed the baton to me. Yeah, let's just say that there was quite a bit of discrepancies in skills. But yeah, I messed up the whole thing. I missed a lot of notes, I have wonky rhythms, and I just overall like suck all over the place. You can actually see me at the end there, like nod my neck towards the aerophone player to pass the thing to him because I was just so done with it. I want to crawl into a hole and disappear. I'm just so done with it. So yeah, I started to get a bit distracted and like just overall spiraling. But then the aerophone solo started. Yeah, it was quite a solo, right? So I think it finally woke me up a little bit and it gave me the courage to glance over at guitar A and give him an expression like cringing expression like, ooh, I messed up. And he responded with a smile. So I glanced over at the aerophone player. He was just super into it because he's focusing on the solo. So the other members of the band were also like just super into it. They were just smiling, having fun, playing music. Like nobody paid any attention to my freaking abomination of a solo. So I finally glanced over to the audience and most of them were looking at the aerophone player because it's his solo. But I made eye contact with some of them. And out of instinct, I sort of smiled and they responded. They smiled back. And it suddenly occurred to me that everybody seems like they're having a good time, right? Like nobody really pay attention to my screw up except for me. So I finally managed to calm myself a little bit and we eventually wrap up the first piece. Now, before we start the second piece, vocalist A went around to introduce people. So I finally had time to put the phone on the stand. So this next part will be from that perspective.
Our favorite bassist. Yes!
as you can see, he tried to get me to slap, but I was still a bit traumatized by my failed solo, so I just did that random bass line instead. After introducing everyone, we finally started our second piece, which was like an improv thing that involved the audience. We did some clapping.
You clap, little clap. Everyone clap. Can you clap? Okay. Now go up, down, side, side. Oh, you can clap. Okay, good. So now
We did some bird sound.
let's try some bird sound.
And finally, we improvised over this narrated story by the aerophone player. Now, by this time, I already sort of recovered from my fail already. So it was actually quite a bit of fun.
I wake up in the morning and I look out and see the beautiful sunrise. During the sunrise, we need some birds. So let's do the sunrise again and hear lots of birds. Ready? Sunrise and birds. So we left our house. We walked outside. Walk. Get on the boat. Okay.
And before I knew it, the performance was over, people clapped, and we just packed our instruments and head out. Okay, so just some reflections and post-performance talk. Okay, so let's start with the cons, right? Because there's only one. It's kind of obvious. I freaking suck. But despite messing up, I think for my first ever performance, I think it's still an overall really positive experience. The people were like so kind. They were such amazing people and talented musicians. And I had a lot of fun. Special shout out to guitarist A for being chill. He invited me to grab a drink afterwards and we chatted for a bit, and that sort of helped me get my mind off off the fail. So yeah, super cool dude. I think I hope we get to talk more in the future. The aerophone player, yeah, shout out to him as well because he helped me get out of my friggin' spiraling. And for vocalist A for being my #1 hype man. But yeah, other than those three, everyone is just really awesome people. I feel very fortunate to be able to play in a band with them. Of course, I need to practice more so I don't let my bandmates down next time. But at least now I know that if things do blow up in my face, like it did in that solo, there are people there to catch me on my way down, right? And I think that's the most important thing. It's about the friends we make along the way. Or whatever. So yeah, that's how my first time on stage went. What's the moral of the story? I guess be cringe, be brave, do cool things, meet cool people, and you too can mess up a bass solo in front of 50 people. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please hit like. 1 like equal 1 less bass solo that I will mess up in the future. So please send help, guys. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.